Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. Good to see you guys. It's a fantastic Thursday after Christmas. I was the last gift. It's okay. I'm here now. Good to see you guys. Good to be with you. Wanted to talk about tonight. Really, is it going to be a market bloodbath or is it the best year ever? One of the things that, Dion and Mike and I talk about, Zoo, one of the things that we talk about a lot is obviously what's going to be the opportunity. I think every market's different. I think you got to be doing your homework. I think that what's really most interesting to me is, sorry, not my water cup. That's not the most interesting to me, but it's kind of interesting. One of the things that's really interesting to me is just really what each market is going to look like in the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. I can tell you, so just here's the evidence that I have for my market. Single family homes were dead until about election time. Selling side. Nothing was selling, even stuff that was reduced. I'm so thankful that I'd had enough experience that I didn't chase a deal. I would have chased a deal. We have a property under agreement for literally just under $400,000. And we were offered 370 but just before the election. And I was like, I can just move on from this deal. I still make plenty of money at 370. I was like, it's just not, whatever. Like, I kind of didn't care. And I was kind of like more just like, bleh, like, okay, maybe we'll just take the deal. And then I was like, no, you know what? I'm not taking the deal. I'm not. I was like, whichever way the election goes, I'm not taking the deal. The deal kind of sucks. The buyers kind of suck. I don't really want to work with them. I really certainly don't want to give them a nice house that I spent a bunch of time on that might need a little bit of tweaking. But one of the things that I want to always teach you guys, and certainly teach in the course and in these videos that I do, is that very often these new first-time home buyers, they have this unbelievable expectation of all the things that they should get for their money. And so one of the interesting things is they would walk through, and I would always tell my agent, I said, get the list. What's the wish list? And so they would be like, oh, I want this and oh, I want that. Well, we know in these houses, you guys will see it, that we always do new kitchens. You have to do a new kitchen. There's no two ways around it. You gotta do new kitchens. Especially when you're doing a house that you're going to turn on the market. And I don't say flip because this wasn't like a 90-day flip thing. This was literally just something where it was like, we weren't sure what we were going to do with it as an asset. We might flip it. We might rent it, but we wanted to have a nice kitchen in there, not a dated kitchen. So, and obviously I know a guy. Now, when we were looking at it, it was kind of like, I was saying to my broker, hey, get me the list. I want to see what their list is. And people would walk through, and one of them was like, a new boiler and a new roof. The roof was like 4 years old. I don't know why you think you need a new roof. The house painted. I'm not painting the house for you. What's wrong with you? Now, if you come in with a full price offer, yeah, I'll paint the house for you. Sure. But not when you're grinding me like a chick named Destiny on price. It ain't going to happen. So anyway, so what kind of, I think that is really important for folks is, very often the kitchen and making the bathroom presentable and making it so they might have to do little tweaks here and there. I think that that's important. And the reason why is these guys that go in there and make the house absolutely perfect, guess what? They got to charge 10 or 15% more than I do. I don't want to make it perfect. I don't want to restore an 1880s home. What I want to do is I want to make it nice as possible. And I also want to find that thing where it's like I can give them something where they might want to go do it themselves. Usually it's windows if the windows haven't been done, or it's painting the outside of the house if that hasn't been done, or it's changing out the boiler if that hasn't been done, or updating the electrical, some sort of bigger project that they can kind of get their hands around. And the reason for that is I'm not going to get paid for any of those things. I'm not going to get extra money. And so it was funny because those people that walk through and they're just like, wow, there's $40,000 worth of work here to do. And I go, you couldn't squeeze 40 grand into here unless you were paying twice for everything that you think you need. And so when we looked at it, I just said, it just doesn't make any sense. And so I'm not going to pay because you don't understand how things work. But that's one of the things you need to be doing when you're putting those types of assets back in the marketplace is you want to leave something. If you make it perfect, you're going to have to charge 10 or 15% more for it. And guess what happens? That often takes you out of the optimal buying range. I'm always looking at, because I want to be median minus, right? And that's something Zoob's talked about for a long time. And what's he looking at? What's he buying? He's looking at median price and then buying below that. And I'm buying well below that because I want to buy some sort of a fixer upper where I want it to end up, you guessed it, about median. I'm not trying to break the record with the house. I want there to be some things that they need to do, some projects that they need to do, because I'm not going to get the ultra premium, and I'm going to make more money. That's what this game is, guys, in case you wondered. I'm going to make more money making it a median house than I am making it this, top 10% of the market house. And it's going to be competing with new construction, which is a loss every single time for not new construction. New construction doesn't have creeks. It's in nicer neighborhoods. It's because they're created, everything is brand new and shiny, and people, jump onto that. So that's one of the things that I think is just really interesting about, what's going on in this market is that after the election, it kind of shifted back to a little bit normal. I have another single family that I took off the market, but I took it off the market because I found out after doing a little bit more research, and this is bad on me. I was kind of really focused on the one plan, and the one plan was, let's just sell it. It's a single family house. Who cares? And so the idea was, let's sell it. Well, after I was not seeing the response in the market that I wanted, because that thing was on before election, like 60 days before. And we had a few showings, but it was all the same tire kicking newbie buyers that just don't know anything they're talking about. And then they get some idiot new agent who's done 6 transactions this year, and those transactions were all kind of rounding errors. And she's like, oh no, we're going to fight for that. It's like, you're going to fight and you're not going to get a house, dummy. And eventually they'll get tired of listening to her. And I say her because I had 3 of them specifically on these 2 different properties where they were these agents that did a few transactions a year and they thought they knew what they were doing. And they knew just enough to be annoying. They didn't know anything. And so that's the other thing too, is that, let's start looking at some of those pieces. So when I look at this, coming year, market bloodbath, or is it going to be the best ever? I think it's probably going to be the best ever. I think there's going to be people in the market that are going to be bleeding. I think there's people that are going to have gotten overexposed because they didn't run the numbers properly, or because they were dumb enough to invest for appreciation only. They didn't care about cash flow. They're just like, we're investing for appreciation. Yeah. Good luck. Good luck with that. Yeah. That road is littered with corpses, of people that ended up having to turn that property because they couldn't sell it. And here's the worst part. If rates are higher for longer, and we are talking about 7 handles for the next 6 to 12 months, got bad news. That house isn't going to be worth what you think it's going to be worth. You're not going to get what you need because you got to make up for 4 or 5% when you sell the thing. You might be in a little bit of a pickle. And that's what I'm hoping a lot of you guys are able to avoid. But that being said, let's jump in. We'll take some questions, have a good time. But yeah, I think next year will be our best year ever. I think top line next year, we will make more money than we've ever made. I think bottom line, I think we'll make more money than we've ever made. I do. I feel like that's going to be what happens. So I'm hoping the same for you. And again, I'm just sharing with you guys how we, how we do it. Dion, good to see you, buddy, as always. Wealth Building Journey, good to see you. Don't forget, Dion's live streams are at 7 p.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. Pacific on Tuesdays. Ninja Vanish, good to see you. Good evening from lovely Watsonville, California. Hey, old REI guy. Santa Cruz, I saw that crazy rogue wave that came into the marina. I actually used to go to Santa Cruz a few times a year because I had a contractor there in my real job, and it was crazy to watch that stuff. The ocean is an amazing and powerful thing. Angel R, I don't know what that sticker is, but good to see you. Good evening, all from Oscar. Hey, Oscar. Let the pumping, chucking, donkey choking session begin. I concur. There was no pumpkin pie to be had at. There's always, Thanksgiving. It's a staple, but you always hope they sneak one in for Christmas. There was not. It was kind of disappointing. I won't lie. Jack talking to Frank. Let's see. Dion feeling almost marvelous. Or an Oscar. Great evening, everyone. Hey, Hyder, how you doing? Let's see. Wealth with Rentals. Hello, everyone. All nighter. I'm just stepping into the house after work today. I was drywalling in a sliver of a bathroom, only 6 feet, very tight with wet drywall and mud. That is a nightmare because you get the mud wet, and then you'd like touch it with an elbow or you bump it with a knee, or it's just like, damn it, gotta redo it again. Hey, Anna K, good to see you. Good to see you. Let's see. Tight space is more stressful than anything, having the capability to perform, but without the room to do so. Yep. I still got everything patched and second coat mudded, right on schedule. Good for you. We are all in on a property right now on trying to get this unit done. This unit needed a complete gutting. This was the one that we did another dormer in. We'll probably do, I think next week, I'll probably do a live just to show you guys kind of closer to the finished product. But basically this was a unit that was rented for about, I think it was around $1,300 a month. It was a 3-bedroom unit. It was ridden hard, put away wet. I mean, it was in bad shape, man. It was in bad shape. And so we walked through it, wallpaper on a bunch of the plaster. There was paneling up. I mean, this thing was 1977 called, and they wanted their style back. It was ugly. And so we went in there and basically we just ripped off the paneling. Then we found the gift of, wallpaper. Wallpaper, it can be easy to get off of plaster, much easier. But all the wallpaper people, they're so backed up that I couldn't actually get them in. And so I was like, all right, I said, listen, I'll pay you for your trade secret. I just need to know. And they were great. They shared all their trade secrets with me. And this is how you do it. Put some guys on it. And it took them a month of Sundays. They just killed the schedule with how slow they were in getting anything done. Absolutely horrible. Way too slow. And so that's where it's really interesting to now kind of see where we are. So literally we had all the plaster done. For those of you guys who don't know, what you can do when you're having a lot of trouble getting that wallpaper off is you can rip the plaster right off, leave the lathe board up, but rip the plaster off. So we ripped all the plaster off in some spots where we're just having a ton of trouble. And then the plaster guys came in, they plastered that. They did the dormer upstairs, which is that 3rd floor room that we went through. We plastered all that. You guys, if you follow me on Instagram, you guys saw that dormer. That was a big dormer. That was twice the size of the other dormer. And so really cool spot. And now it's done. Little funny story on that project was I was at Home Depot maybe, I don't know, 6 months ago. And there were these big, huge windows that I saw on the shelf. And so I talked to the guy, and he goes, oh yeah, it was like a lakefront property. And so they had these massive windows. And I was like, why are they here? And he goes, they didn't fit right. And so they decided that they returned them. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. He's like, nope. And so I look up the price on them. They were like $7.89 a window or something like that. They're these big, huge windows. So I'm talking to the guy. We're going back and forth. And I was like, yeah, I see they're discounted to like 300 and something bucks. So when's the next time for a discount? He goes, let me look it up. And so he looks it up and he goes, I mean, we're close. He goes, maybe within a week or so. I go, let's get these things discounted and I'll take 10 of them off your hands. And he goes, well, what do I need to discount them to? I said, well, you got to get them sub 200. He goes, oh, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do that. So we did. We got them to sub 200. I want to say they're $179 a piece, for like an $800 window, I would call it. I wouldn't call it anything more than that, no matter what they paid, but call it an $800 window. But yeah, for like it was right around $175 a window. And so I bought 10 of them. So I spent $1,750 and we've used 6 out of the 8, but they're so big that they're massive. They're 6 feet tall windows, I think, or 5.5 feet tall windows. They're massive, but we've used them, and we've used them in projects where we've created a dormer or where we want to create a bigger space, like something cool that overlooks something scenic. But they've been great. But again, just another helpful tip is, look for the windows that they've had returned, because if you're creating or building a wall because you're building a dormer and you have to knock something out, guess what? You can make the window sizes anything you want. Same with a shed, same with a garage, same with a conversion of a garage to a bedroom. You can make all of these adjustments. That's where you take advantage, and you don't order custom windows. You make the window fit the hole that you can build, and then you're going to save an absolute fortune. So where that window bill for this place probably would have been a couple of $1,000, I was able to put 2 of these windows in, and I was in for, basically less than $400. And install, was fairly easy because it was a brand new opening. Well, with rentals, press the notification button. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. T-minus 7 minutes and counting. Yes, but I'm here now. BuzzTune, hello. Adam Calhoun, hello. Jason Calasavetta, good to see you, sir. Let's see. I think we'll see softness in prices. Yep, but not much. There's still pain ahead. This is why we're here to be elite, to learn to be elite. Yes, even in less than optimal conditions. That's exactly right. I still stick by my call. I still think we're going to see minus 10% on the median home price. If you guys look at Fred, if you guys look at that, they actually track the median home sales price. And peak, I want to say the peak for median was like 416 or something like that. Or 426 maybe. And I think now we're down to like 407 or 406. And then it ticked up to 407, but we're going to see the numbers. We got to see the number. We're still waiting on the numbers for, October. And then we'll be waiting on November's and waiting on December's. And so we'll know by February of next year if it actually did track down enough. Maybe it did. Maybe it didn't. Don't really know. But I'm seeing things, I'm seeing some things. And in my market, we did CMAs, which is a market analysis. So we do that market analysis. And when we do that market analysis, what's really cool about it is it's basically just short of an appraisal. It's just shy of an appraisal with the amount of work that goes into it. So that CMA gets done, and comparative market analysis, that CMA gets done. When that CMA does get done, then what happens is you have an understanding of exactly what's sold, what's on the market, what you're competing with. And so from an appraisal perspective, they can only use houses that have sold. From a CMA perspective, you can use solds and listings. That's why I believe it's more accurate than an appraisal, because you want to know where your competition is so you can better price. So we do that. We go through all those steps, spend a bunch of hours on it. 450,000 is the number that we come up with. We posted for 450. This is before the election, and little traffic, and all the numbers were there to say 450. We then bring it to 425. Very limited traffic. We had one offer, but it had so many stipulations that it was a sub 400 offer with stipulations. Wasn't going to happen, but that's what the market showed me. Then we took a different strategy with the house that we had put on the market, probably 4 weeks after that. And what we did was we actually loaded it up and looked at it and said, hey, we want to give all of the advantage of this house we possibly can. We're going to price it well under what we believe market is. Market was telling us 420, 425 was the right price for that house. We marked it at 399. We still didn't sell. We didn't sell for 60 days. That tells you anything. That tells me that the prices are a problem. And rates have continued to stay high, which is what creates the payment. And now new tax bills are coming out. And in our state, these tax bills, they can be up an outrageous amount. I saw insurance double. I saw taxes over the last 2 or 3 years double. These are all things that are major factors, in people being able to buy that asset and certainly rent it out. Or even if they're a home buyer, like that was the type of buyer we were shopping for, they're tapped, man. They are tapped. So that was just another thing that I was looking at that I still believe, my timing might be off a little bit, but I don't think there's going to be a crash by any stretch, but I think that there's a number of markets around the country that are correcting. Our market, I mean, just based on that evidence that I gave you, we 10%, we were 7% or so off on the second one. And on the first one, we were off more than 10%. We were off 11 or 12%. On the second one, we're off about 7 or 8, I think, based on what we actually are going to go for contract on. So that's where I think that there's some big differences, in what we're going to see. So I agree with you, Chester. Robert Farinelli. Hello, Matt. Sorry I missed the last live stream. Just got off a plane and was tired. That's okay. It's understandable. Lumberjack knows a guy who knows a guy. I wish I did about the pumpkin pie. That was a problem. Love Cavs. Evening. How is everyone? Good to see you, Love Cavs. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. Yep. A shade below median, under 5% or greater, sells as fast as wildfire. Yeah, that's true. Until it wasn't in my market. That's what was so crazy. So I saw that there was a lot super chat down below here. Let me just hit that real quick. Getting our tickets for the ORAD event in Vegas, February 15th through the 16th. When are hangouts at Denny's some different nights? Yeah, they are. So 15 and 16 is Saturday and Sunday. The hangouts are Thursday and Friday, maybe even Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But yeah, they absolutely are. Yep. They'll get Dion will announce them more often. Obviously, always watch Dion, whether he's talking about those or not, but they're definitely going to be there for sure. Yep. We will definitely do it. Angel, why not relist those single families in spring selling season? Great call. So you're going to have carry. That was where it was like, I looked at what my carry cost was. You got to remember here in the winter, like you are, my man, in Michigan. I think you're in Michigan. But when you're there, you could be talking about, because we're a no income tax, no sales tax state, our taxes on our houses are usually $500 a month. On these houses, they are $500 a month. So I'm looking at a $500 a month carry there. I'm looking at $1,000 or $800 on the mortgage, and I'm looking at $300 to $400 on heat. So the carry might be to wait until April. The carry might be 10 or 12,000. So that's where it was like for me, if I was taking 10 or 12 grand less, that made sense. Made sense probably at even 14 or 15. That's kind of what we took at maybe 12 or 13. But it didn't make sense at 20. It was that gap was just too much. So then it was like, nope, we're going to hold, we're going to hold them. We're going to put them on the market. And then sure enough, the election happens. And within a few weeks, we have a deal. We're under contract. Let's see. Sound Sangs. I think we see 5 handles in that time frame. I disagree with you. Appreciate the enthusiasm, but I disagree. I don't think we see 5s at all. There are 0 reasons when you look at what the economy is doing right now to put it in the 5s. If we put anything in the 5s, that's going to create massive amounts of additional inflation. So I don't see that happening. The only way that we get a 5 handle in 2025, the only way is, I believe the only way that happens if the jobs economy starts really getting tanked. You're talking about an all-time high stock market, all-time high Bitcoin. Inflation's still kind of hot. I know people don't want to say it, but it is. And I don't feel any better about, what I'm spending on gasoline or food. I mean, I've got a family of 6. Our budget is insane for food. And all those costs. So yeah, I don't see it. Let's see. A GC has to register for the city before he pulls a building permit. And because it is me, I have to buy it myself. Is that just in my city or everywhere? That's in your city. And it seems like the rate depends on many factors. What do you recommend? So you're exactly right. For your area, that's a thing. I go pull my permits. I don't have to have a license. In my state, GCs don't have licenses. They don't. In Massachusetts, which is Taxachusetts, much like California, they have those licenses. And guess what? You still have massive issues with GCs being a problem in that state. It didn't stop anything or prevent anything. As far as, rate depends on many factors. That's why if you like it, lock it. But if you have a deal that cash flows, you buy it. If it hits your buy box and it's paying you what you needed to pay you, I'm not playing games, guys. I'm a simple man. I don't need to do 10 deals. I don't even need to do one, but you don't need to do 10 deals. You only need to do one. And so you just hold out and you wait for the right deal, and you keep on waiting, keep on waiting, keep on waiting. And eventually you'll find the right opportunity. The best way, if you're only using MLS, then you have to do something different than every other MLS viewer is looking at. And the thing that I can encourage you the most to learn is zoning. I was just doing some time with somebody that I'm working with. And I said, you need to run the zoning. You need to understand the zoning rules. You need to understand what's permitted there and not rely on an agent. That's on you. You need to do it. And why do they need to do it? Because I don't want to rely on an agent. I would have missed out on a number of deals if I listened to what some agent said. There are 5 or 6 deals I can name off the top of my head that were something where the agent was just like, yeah, I just don't see it. Yeah, I just don't. Oh, you don't. But that's why you're an agent. You have to be out here hawking homes. And I don't. That's why I've got 53 of them. That's why I got 53 buildings, is because I don't need to think I don't see it. I see it. See exactly what it is. And it will create better opportunity for you. So Matt, will you be challenging Dion to a lazy off next year? Please track all your time next year. I want to see you win. So what we're starting to kind of more watch is the amount of, we've made some changes in the business that are going to take effect January 1 that are going to shift definitely the amount of time that I'm spending. And so I'm just interested to see if they work. I can tell you on the flip, guys, I haven't been at that flip in 2 weeks. I haven't been there since the last video I did for you guys. I believe since then, that the hole in the kitchen floor was taken care of. The basement was cleaned up. I think the painting was finished on the inside. I think the trim work was finished. I know that the windows are in to swap those out on the upstairs. I think that's probably going to happen next week, but still nothing I've had to go there for. Literally text messages and, 10 minutes worth in the last 2 weeks on that property. That's basically it. Let's see. Everyone hit the like button. Thanks, Jack. Does anyone else have hearts going across Matt's face and couch? Hearts going across Matt's face and couch. Oh, I don't. Interesting. I don't. Hey, Key. Good to see you, my friend. Angel R. I'm sad. Got to pay a plumber $3,000 to fix my main sewer stack. Damn it. Yeah, that sucks. The previous owner installed it himself and installed a bunch of Wise. Yeah. Wise. Yep. Wise and Sanctifice is upside down. I learned never buy from a DIY type. Guys, that's why flippers get a bad reputation. That's how it happens. That's why people are like, yeah, flippers. Everyone's like, oh, everything's brand new. But you look at the quality of what's done. If you don't understand what the quality looks like, they put in Home Depot cabinets that slam doors and they're particle board. They'll put in the cheapest of LVP where within a year or two, you'll be popping seams. They'll do, I've literally seen a house flipper tape off a furnace and paint it in high heat in the original color of the furnace, removing all the emblems, putting them all back to make it look pretty. Thank heavens I was able to just open up the chamber and look inside to see what the issues were. But this is the crazy stuff. This is the crazy stuff that people do that just, again, that flippers try and do that, quite frankly, works when the person isn't educated, but doesn't work when they are. All-nighter. I let my knee drift into the wet mud. Dude, been there. And you're just like, damn it. So close to being done. Yeah. What series IBC, Tim K, what series IBC do you prefer? I was on the website to check them out. There were a couple of options. So the one that I buy is the Combi boiler. It does your domestic hot water. It also does your forced hot water heat. It runs on gas. You can get a conversion for propane, but and that's fine, but my preference is natural gas. I believe it's 199,000 BTU. It used to be like a silver box in color, and now it's a white box in color. But I'm pretty sure that they only have 199,000 BTU unit, which does forced hot water as well as on-demand hot water. The on-demand hot water is basically because it takes the place of a domestic hot water heater. The reason that you want that is because if you're in a high density house, 3, 4 bedrooms where you've got a couple of parents and some kids, or you've got a roommate situation, guess what? You don't want to be the third person in line in the morning taking a shower, or the third or fourth person at night taking a shower. So the best way to avoid having to have people go through that, and also not have like an 80-gallon hot water heater that are super expensive, very, very expensive on fuel, the best way to do that is you get an on-demand hot water heater. And so they make them singly, like Rinnai makes one, Bosch makes one. But I in particular, if I've already got forced hot water there and I've got a questionable boiler, I'm going to replace it, and I'm going to do all of it off of that. I'm going to do domestic hot water off of that, as well as my forced hot water. But the 199,000 BTU typically means you can run a shower, run a sink, run a dishwasher, or you can substitute that for a washing machine. And you still would have enough hot water to meet that demand. The cool thing is, as those other things come offline, like a clothes washer or a dishwasher, as those other things come offline, it will actually, because it's not a tank, it's tankless. It's a coil that basically ignites and heats instantly. Because you have that type of capacity, you never run out of hot water. So if you have that selfish roommate that spends 20 minutes in the shower, doesn't matter, because the 3 minutes of them being outside that shower, you're back in there and you're scalding hot water as much as you want again. That's the key to those on-demand boilers. Just make sure you find a dealer that's local that supports the IBC, because you want them to have a dealer kit. That entire boiler is comprised of that on-demand hot water boiler is comprised of 7 parts. Mine, I've had 2 out of the 33 that we own be down for 2 hours because they had to swap a part. That's it. That was the long and short of it. So that's how powerful those machines are. Kind of love them more than just a little bit. Andres Matos. Hey, Andres. Hello, Matt. I've tried to find tri or quad unit properties, but there is none here in Metro Atlanta. How do you guys find those type of small multifamily properties? Same way. What we do is, for me, if I'm not finding any that are listed, then what I'm doing is I'm looking, town records will have where they are, what they are. You'll find them in neighborhoods. You'll find neighborhoods full of tris and quads. I know there's tons of quads in Atlanta. I know there's tons of them. Duplexes too, for that matter. In those areas where it was really inexpensive to build, you might find like an 8 or a 12 unit a whole lot faster. Again, that's just different debt. It's not to say, and there's pros and cons to it. The pro to those types of buildings is that it's not about what the last one sold for. It's all about the cash flow that it creates. And when you're 4 units or less, it's all about what the last one sold for, maybe a little bit factored in for the rents. However, your rate is never fixed unless you DSCR that and you're paying a slight premium. Your rate is not fixed on a 4 unit. It's likely going to be floating unless you're living in it, right? On a 5 unit. And even then you're going to have commercial debt, even if you're living in it. And that rate's going to change in 3, 5, or 7 years. And it's going to adjust to, prime +2 or FHLB +1.5. It's going to mix and move. That's what you have to be kind of cautious of. That's what you have to be cognizant could happen. Because if you buy that thing and the rates haven't really gone down, but the rents have gone flat, your other expenses, taxes, and insurance might carry, if it's a slim margin deal, it might carry you to a loss. Those are just some of the things to consider. Like I said, I own both types of assets. I just don't believe in only one strategy. I believe that there's multiple strategies in how to get wealthy, but I think the best strategies in how to stay wealthy is being in real estate. You don't want to be diversified, meaning I'm not in 10 other things. I'm in real estate, but I have different types of assets that perform differently under different market conditions. That's what allows me. That's my hedge. Let's Let's see, Jack Stewart. Wealth Building Journey, how have you been? Oh, good, good. I love it when you guys are chatting with each other. Wealth Rentals, can I hire a GC who has insurance just for that and he won't do anything? Or is it not a good idea? Or just have buy insurance and take the hit even if I can? Yeah, I would definitely shop it out. I mean, because what you're looking for is probably some sort of like a workman's comp insurance. That's all he's going to have. He's just going to have workman's comp. And so what you want to do is you want to have the workman's comp, but the people that you hire to do the work, just verify that they have insurance too and that they name you on that insurance for that project. That's what you want to be verifying. So for me, we hire subs, but we make them prove they have insurance, not just I've got insurance. No. You need to prove it. Thank you very much. Prove it. Key question. I got a flood in my kitchen, hot wood. Oh my goodness. Hot wood floor water teak all the way to the crawl space. How to dry subfloor, which is pine. Thank you, Matt and Hyder. What I would probably do is it's all about air movement. And it's all about dehumidifiers. We had a sprinkler line break. I'm going to have pictures for you guys and everything in another video that I'll do. But we had a sprinkler line break. It soaked everything. It was a nightmare. But we had 3 commercial dehumidifiers in there. We had 5 air movement fans. But most importantly, it was about getting the saturation out. And then after we basically got all the water extracted, and then let the thing basically dry, you dry it slowly, or you dry it quickly as you can, but basically with all this fan and air movement, but taking the water out of the air. So I can tell you, when we first put in the commercial dehumidifiers, it was 81% humidity, 81%. By the time we were done 2 days later, it was 21, 22, right around there. So it was this massive difference and really, really dry. And we'd sucked all the air, was all the water out. We made sure that all of the air had been pushed through, that everything was dry to a bone. But the big key with any of that stuff is getting it dry as fast as you can. And that really comes down to air movement, dehumidifiers, sucking the moisture out of the air and making sure that you're getting all of that water extraction done. Those are some of the most important things. Wealth Building Journey, doing pretty good. Very good. Fully rented out duplex in my market. Very nice. Angel, that sucks. Yeah, I agree. That does suck, man. Matt, how much do you, Angel R asks, how much do you typically pay to have an S trap replaced with a proper P trap? An air admittance valve in the bathroom sink. I want to know if I'm getting, ripped by a plumber. I won't use the other word. So here's what I can tell you. Every inspector thinks, every home inspector thinks that you have to change these P traps. You just don't. I don't change them. I don't. I keep the S traps. That's exactly what I do. I don't believe that the value is there in changing it out. And you know what, guys? Shockingly, P traps have worked for decades. They worked for decades. So it's only code if you are building something new. You can replace in kind in most states. So in our state, we certainly replace in kind because that's not a bill I'm willing to foot. Robert Farinelli. Let's see. Okay. Robert Farinelli. I have a bat problem. Oh, brother. I know you need to use a wildlife management company, not an exterminator. What is the process to get rid of them? So I know what questions to ask. The process is still usually some sort of humanized trapping. Here's what I would tell you. I would call Biotech Pest Control. You can look them up. They're in our area. Let Billy know that I sent you. The first and foremost, the thing is you basically make sure that they can't get in anymore. That's the most important thing. And so what he does as part of his strategy is he goes in and he makes sure that there's no ability, nowhere that they can enter in. That's your first step. Second step is what's then in there, you then trap. Or you can also create a one-way where there's no way to get in, but there's only a way to get out. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. But yeah, I would reach out to Billy there. Let him know I sent you because he'll take care of you for sure. Let's see. I got no idea where I was seeing them from. That's awesome. None of the sink showers in the duplex have a proper P-trap present. I've been slowly adding proper P-traps with air valves. So with air valves, you're talking about like a Studer vent. You can do that again. And the word proper. So I don't know if you have like a building inspector out there who's militant about the P-trap. But we still keep our S traps. They've been okay for 30 or 40 years. We haven't felt the need to upgrade them. We keep S traps on the truck. We keep one P trap on the truck just because most of our stuff is those. He's replacing the S trap. Yeah, I figured. Yeah, we're just keeping all the P's. We keep all the P's. Sorry, the other way around. Wait. Yeah. No, he's replacing the S trap. No, yeah, we keep all of the S's and we don't bother with the P's. Let's see. Angel R, $300. Yeah, that's expensive. I think I wouldn't do it. I mean, but that's why it's like, if I did that, I would be spending probably $80,000 on those conversions. Am I going to get a nickel more for rent? No. Have any of them been a problem? No. When something blocks or gets clogged or whatever, you know what we do? We run the Milwaukee tool that we bought for $200. It's a 6-inch snake. You can put a drill right on the end of it. You stick it down the sink. You put your drill on it this way, and then you can go and it spins it, and then it just goes right down. It does toilets too. And it's 6 feet. It's perfect for sinks and toilets. And if we're still stuck then we're actually going to go to the clean out. That's where we go to the clean out. But it just happens so rarely, not worth it for me. Not an upgrade that I'm willing to spend on. Studer vents to let air into the drain. The Studer vents are so you don't create a vacuum in the drain. Oh, let's see. Kyle Dorn, how's it going, my man? Just tuning in. Matt, foresee late rents coming in next month. Statistically speaking, no warning signs personally. Can you talk about handling late tenants, how you handle? Yeah, so that's a great question. We have a couple that were late this month. And we had the conversation with them. We're just like, hey, listen, we need the rent paid. It's late. And after 3 days, we give a late fee. We're like, hey, this is a late fee. And then basically after that, then it is what it is. It is, we will post papers, and make sure that they get the point. If they're a tenant for a long time, then we obviously have a little bit of grace for them, because if they'd always been on time and then something life event happened, I just want to have the conversation. I want to know what that is. Right. And potentially try and work something out with them. Not as harsh as Dion, and Dion's not wrong, just different. But for me, I want to have the conversation. If they've been on time forever and then all of a sudden they're not, I want to know what happened. Because sometimes that's just one of those things that can happen. And from my perspective, I can live with it. I can live with it. If they've been a great tenant for that long, I can kind of live with it. Correct. Plumber has added a P-trapped Studer vent. So how to handle? That's how I would handle, Kyle. Feel free to ask more below. Angel R, no worries, buddy. No worries. Let's see. Yeah, P-trap to Studer vent, to let air in the prevent, sewer gases. Yep. There are still gases coming up from the tub, but to fix that, I need to rip the whole ceiling. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yes, sir. Coach. Yep. All good. Midnight Denny's meetups. Oh, thanks, D. Wednesday and Thursday. Yeah, Friday is for sleep. Yeah. Those things go late. I can tell you, like midnight, 1, 2 in the morning. Yeah. I actually when I flew in last year, I fly in, I get off my plane. I was flying from the East Coast. and I was getting in at, I think, midnight or 12:30 in Vegas. I grabbed the truck, and I go right to that, and I think it's like 1:15 or something. It was late. It was like midnight to 1:00, something like that. Well, that was 4 a.m. my time, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. my time. So I was a little bit beat. Yeah. I got off to a bad start that week with sleep. That's fine. Sleep is optional. Real estate is forever. That's true. You're a professional napper. Yeah. The challenge, honestly, is napping on Saturday or Sunday. It's not a thing. It's not a thing. Because me and Day and Millennial Mike, we were there early in the morning. We were the last ones to leave. And then we made sure that we wanted to spend time with people for dinner. And so we had some dinners that were like 20 people. And so we get out of there at like 6:00. And it'd be like 10 o'clock. We get home at like 9 or 10 o'clock. And then we'd hang out for 2 or 3 hours. Hyder was there too. So we hang out for, and then it was like right back out the next morning. So yeah, Dion's right. Friday night is for sleep. Friday night has to be for sleep. Otherwise, we're going to be a mess the next couple of days. Do they still have pictures of the food? Oh, yeah, they still have pictures of the food for sure. Yep. Food's serviceable. It's serviceable. Yeah, I don't mind Denny's. It's kind of like IHOP. If you have an IHOP, it's kind of like Denny's. But yes, one slice of pumpkin pie at a time. True story. Yeah, or a pancake. That's correct. Kyle, been doing some cold calling today because I have nothing better to do. Taking notes and following up. Also, tons of offers written up on the MLS and following up in 2 weeks. Inventory up every week. Totally agree. Yes, it is up every week. And yes, Massachusetts. Hey, Mark Ashiro. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're well. Wealth Rental. Sorry, I was talking about city wanting a general liability insurance from me if I GC my project, not a license. Yeah. Yep. They might. You have to ask them. A lot of times the only thing they might require something like that, but that's not a hard thing to get. And it might be, they're not crazy expensive. You'll save if you're doing a $50,000 or $100,000 project, your GC is going to want $5,000 to $10,000. That insurance might be $1,000, maybe. Yeah. Yes, exactly. That's correct, Hyder. GC licenses are only for recourse after bad job. That's true. Kyle doing, I bet in 4 to 8 weeks, more motivated sellers. I agree. Will be easy to find in my market. More inventory, penning a down week over week in my market. Super excited, taking lots of swings every day. That's the way to do it. Get them talking and then make moves. Wealth building journey. Matt is spot on. Do one great deal, a great deal, 2 or 3 good deals, and as much as 10 average deals. Yeah. And so you don't need 10 deals. You can't even do them if you wanted to. 2 or 3 deals, you probably couldn't do them even if you wanted to. So you wait, you take your spot, guys. You take your spot. I only did great deals, and that's why I always was able to get my money out of the deal and on into the next one. Hyder, WWR, what do they want? Yeah. What do they want to insure? Yep. And under what authority? That's just tyranny, in my opinion. I would expect that opinion from Hyder, and I don't disagree. He's exactly right. But sadly, they do make you pay to play in a lot of these states. Master Coach University. I like concrete block homes due to the seemingly indestructibility, especially with our weather. Are there any major drawbacks? Yeah, the major drawbacks, foundationally, like if you're getting sinkage, like there's nothing that's holding those blocks together. Yeah, there's some brick, there's some mortar, and there's some rebar and things, but it's not like where you have like a wood frame that you can actually, really move that thing. Based on the cinder block foundations that I've worked on, here we have to worry about frost lines and frost depths and heaving. That becomes a challenge for us. So I don't know in that market. I know that that's a less expensive way to build, certainly. But yeah, not really sure. Hyder, toss your idea in there. Like I said, that's up here in the Northeast. We're not doing a whole lot of those things. Jack Stewart, it lasted for 30 seconds and must only been on my end, the hearts. Oh, you must have loved something or something like that. Robert Farinelli, might be just me, but I assume every investor in my market who looks at MLS is smarter than me and looks at the things like zoning. They don't. They factually don't. The elite guys do. The top 10% do, but the next 90 don't. In fact, I just saw an 8-unit sell in Manchester for under $1 million. Not joking. Look at Horvath. They're the ones who sold that deal. I'm interested to hear what you think if you look it up. But that sold for under $1 million. It was an 8-unit. Yeah, they flipped the plumbing upside down. Yeah, exactly. I also see a lot of potential Crimson Knight for another unit in the MLS description and price it almost as if it had the extra unit. That's exactly right, Robert. That's exactly right. That's something that's been going on for the last year and a half, 2 years, more than ever. Pro forma rents. Oh, you can easily just raise the rents to this and see that's why we're justifying that price. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You don't get to raise that price because I can do all the work. I can take all the risk. I can add all that stuff. That's not how it works. It's delusional. Kyle Dorn, Taylor has a rental inspection scheduled for Monday on that property you helped us with at boot camp. Awesome. Home stretch, baby. Thanks for all your help. Saved me big money. I kind of feel like boot camp is mandatory. I don't disagree with you. I'm so super excited that I saved you lots of money. Yeah, I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And that's what a lot of people do when their boot camp's coming up. They're like, hey, I might have a project, but I want to know how to run this thing and really understand how much money I can possibly save. Absolutely a thing. So super awesome. Love to hear that. Robert Farinelli, when are you ziplining? Going to crash it if we can. There's good ziplining. I don't know where you guys are ziplining, but if you're doing it in Vegas, there's good ziplining out there. Building to building is one, and then there's another one too. That is there's one that is in Old Vegas downtown where you can get to do it right over, I think it's Tremont Street, I think. There's a couple of others out there too. Landlord Odyssey, what's up? Ready on? Good to see you, pal. Hey Matt, are you still taking kitchen orders? We had just changed over to a new designer. We have ordered those cabinets based on her design. We're waiting for those to come in. They should be in the second week of January. Want to make sure that we've got everything down. We needed to get her connected to the pricing module to make sure that we could price things properly because that's important. And then we're trying to get scheduled training. She's amazing. She's absolutely fantastic. Jess is awesome. I'm behind because of the holidays because we had also had a couple of burst water lines that I spent a week and a half handling all of the stuff. Hey guys, burst sprinkler line from that to the tenant being back in the unit in 4 days. That's work. That's work. That sucked. That's work. So yeah, Landlord Odyssey. So ready on. We are close. We are very close. I think we have the right person. It's just a matter of getting her plugged into the couple of things I need her plugged into, testing it, making sure we didn't miss anything because we obviously don't want to miss anything when it comes to somebody ordering something. Because usually it's a few $100 to get these things shipped out to you. But if you need one cabinet, it's like $150 to ship out one cabinet. So I don't want to do that to any of you guys. And again, because there's almost no margin in this for me, that would, largely make some of this stuff a loser. So between having to pay to ship that out to you guys and the right cabinet, blah, blah, blah. So that's where we have to make sure, right? That's where you guys got to make sure when we send you a set of plans that you're reviewing everything. Now, we've not had anything wrong yet. The only damaged order that ever happened out of all the kitchens that we ordered was mine. But I had to spend 2 weeks on the phone. Well, not 2 weeks on the phone. It was a couple of days on the phone to get everything remedied, but then it was 2 weeks later that my new order, 2 or 3 weeks later that my new order showed up. So I had to wait 2 or 3 weeks. That's where that can be tough, but you're going to run into that with anybody that has to replace something that is, that's largely that's like a semi-custom manufactured like our stuff is. That's where you run into that challenge.
All-nighter. Painting a furnace housing to hide its age is super devious. Lipstick on a pig, no good. Yeah, tell me about it. That was a little bit dicey. A little bit dicey. I was not very thrilled when I found that out. Monkey Huevos. I like the name, Monkey Huevos. Hopefully you're still here. It's 20 minutes later. The type of sprayer I would recommend, it really is preference. Because we have guys that use the Gracos. We have guys that use what's that other big name out there? There's another big name out there that they use too. The biggest thing is what tips you're using for what parts of the job. When I want my doors and my trim work done, I want an HVLP tip because what that stands for is high volume. That means it pushes a lot more paint, low pressure, so it's not like psh, all over the place. It gives you a controlled stream. But that when you're laying on that paint with an HVLP tip and hitting that hitting those doors, it just puts on such a beautiful coat. It looks just so pretty. And it also takes some of the gloss out of the semi-gloss. From an appearance perspective, it kind of softens it a bit. Just love it. And then you don't see brush strokes and you don't see roll strokes and you don't see any of that stuff. It's just that's my favorite. Kyle Dorn, yes, that was an instant hot water heater. Yes, that an instant hot water heater is amazing. It will stay hot until you either stop paying the electric or water bill. True story. Or you lose electricity. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Bright Investor can help. Yeah, Andre Matos. Thank you very much for the help. Always good to help out our fellow investors. 1 to 4 units is residential. 5 units is plus is commercial. Yes, it is. You can also have commercial if you have what's called mixed use. You can have commercial might be a first floor unit and a residential might be a second floor unit. They won't classify that as a residential building. They'll classify that. So even though it's only 2 units, let's say it's a storefront on the front and a resi on the top, like an apartment on the top. I owned one of those buildings. It was commercial on the first floor, residential on the second floor, commercial property, commercial debt. Let's see. Yes. Kyle Dorn, I'm pretty sure Steven Dow with Velocity can do 30-year fixed. He can. And so can Convoy. At least that's what he told me last week. He can. He'd say his rate is around 9 or 10. I don't play in that world though. Yeah, you can at 9 or 10. I would tell you that I think those are good. I think that I think that beats a lot of the other stuff out there. But those rates are what's going to, they're not going to have to take any medicine. Velocity isn't. Guys, your network is your net worth. I think Steve Dow is fantastic. Any deal that I have that I think DSCR is a fit, I have a conversation with him. I also have a conversation with Convoy. I also have a conversation with a couple of the other guys that I know in that space. So it's a conversation. Your network's your net worth. I want 4 people that are giving me what their best option is because this is the reason that you get 3 quotes. The reason you get 3 quotes is it's not just what their price is, but how busy they are. And if they're saying, I can't get you to for 4 to 6 weeks, I've got bad news, guys. If they can't get to you for 4 to 6 weeks, they're too busy and they are overpricing that job in all likelihood. I want to know, we're finishing up this project now. We've got something else behind it, which might be about a week or so, but then we'd be ready to come out and do that for you. They actually want to make sure that they have work to do. So they're going to competitively and more aggressively price that. It's the same thing on the mortgage side. What is their avenue that they're basically selling that risk into? Are they selling it to insurance companies? Lower risk profile. They want something super, super tight. And they pay a little bit more for it, but that means that, a Velocity has to charge a little bit more for it. Then there's people out there that are just like, we're bundling them together and we're doing a tranche and we're selling a tranche once a month or every 2 weeks. And we just have nonstop buyers for those assets so long as we followed our criteria. So yeah, absolutely. Monkey, I use a Graco Airless. Yeah, I like Graco as a brand. We have a really high-end, I think it might be a Graco. We have a really high-end one. One of the tips that I would tell you guys in buying equipment is rent something from Home Depot and see how you like it. Rent something from a Sunbelt, see how you like it. But one of the things that we do is we always watch their stuff come off of being rentable because they basically age it out. It can age out. Sometimes it's the number of rentals. Sometimes it's just so that's the age part. The other age part that they have is sometimes it's, hey, it's been here for a year, it's been here for 2 years, or it's a high use type of item. I've bought stuff for 40% of the retail price that's been used 25 times. Guys, 25 times? Are you joking? 25 times. We've bought some amazing equipment. We bought a floor sander that was a $3,000 sander. I paid $800 for it. It'd been rented like 35 or 40 times. It was nothing. It was nothing. And every single time they bring it back, they have to go through it, repair it, make sure it's good. So I know that the asset was a good asset. Now, how many times have we used it since? We have used it a bunch since. A couple of my guys on the team, they've learned how to do floors. So when we're in a pinch and we don't have 2 weeks to wait and we have one floor to get done, they can do that floor. They can do that floor. And it's bailed us out maybe 9 or 10 times. And it's a timing thing. It saved us $1,000 each time we've used it. $800 to $1,000 each time we've used that thing. We're going to use it this week. Next week. We're going to use it next week. Yeah, it's that crazy. Julie Anderson, you look very handsome today. I love how you are teaching your children about money. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. My wife agrees. What was today? Oh, I had a meeting with an attorney this morning and or 2 attorneys this morning. So in that meeting, I had to, can't show up in shorts and a t-shirt. So thank you. This is the showered look. Excuse me. Wealth building journey. How do small multi-debt structures work? 5-10 year. Small multis, so 2, 3, and 4, they work same. Small multis meaning 5 units. Got it. So small multis, you're in that camp instantly. Anything over 5, you are a commercial asset, even if it's residential. So there's not like, hey, we have pricing for 5 to 10. Hey, we have pricing for 10 to 50. Not been my experience. Banks underwrite it based on the income of the property. And then you're getting 3, 5, or 10-year debt. Your 3-year debt is the least expensive, but that means you're in for the reset faster. Your 5-year debt is more expensive. 7-year debt is more expensive, and 10-year debt is more expensive. What I'm always looking for is I'm running the numbers. Hey, the 10-year debt's the most expensive because it has the least likelihood of moving because it's fixed for 10 years. A lot of banks don't offer that anymore. So you can get 7, 5, or 3. Sometimes you can get 1. I don't love 1. 1 is what Ben Mala went with 0-year debt. And so he had a flex rate every single month. And then when he went to try and lock in, he's like, now they'll dip back down. They didn't dip back down. And now he's getting obliterated at 6, and 7 and 8. But he's a super smart guy. I like Ben Mala a lot. So yeah, so all types of debt, 3, 5, 7, 10-year debt. And it is also usually as a prepayment penalty, step down, 3, 2, 1. So year 1, it's 3% to refi. You have to pay them 3% of the overall note to refi it or take it away from them. Second year is 2%, and the third year is 1%. I've seen some that are 5-year where it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, goes down 1% every year. So if you try and refi in the first year, you have to pay 5 points, and that might be 5 points on $25,000 or $500,000, which is 25 grand. So you have to like really crush the rate, but that's if rates went down 2 or 3%. I'm probably trying to write out of that deal. The other thing you can do too is you can talk to your bank and see if you can get them to recast the debt, or give you a different rate, and just agree to paying a percentage of that. I've been in a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 prepay. And I think I was at 2 years, and I said, I'll keep all of these loans with you, but I want to do all 4 of them. And I said, and so I don't want to pay the 2-year. And we had to go through approval process, blah, 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 but they did. And I didn't have to pay I didn't have to pay the prepayment. They made me pay like closing costs and a few other things. So it ended up being like $3,000 or $4,000, but it could have been like $30,000 or $40,000. Kyle Dorn, can you email me the contact info? Oh, yes. I actually have that. I'm sorry. Been wrapped around the axle between Christmas and these popped pipes. I was actually in the field all day Monday. It's what was required. I was in the field all day Monday thawing pipes. It was no es bueno. I went in the field at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and I think I got home around 5 o'clock at night, which is fine. Like it's just a day's work, but you always hope that you get to a point where you don't have to do that stuff. But I did have to do that stuff because it was an emergency and because we had somebody out sick. And so just the way it goes. And when you're thawing pipes and you're bringing things to temp, that's when you want to be around. Because when the pipe cracks or when the pipe pops, it does that with ice because it expanded. The problem is when it starts to get warm, the water pressure is still there and the ice is now melted. And so that's when you start getting the water gushing. So usually at night, it's when it pops. And that's when when it's really super cold, you see your splits in your pipes. The problem is when that thaws, that's when you're going to get your massive leak. And so when I'm bringing things up to temp, that's what I'm watching closely. All-nighter hider. Yes. Moving air or moving water from air. Yep. I have nothing else to add. Maybe baking soda. No, we didn't use any baking soda just because it's a decently large area. The big thing for us was water extraction. You have enough air moving, you have enough, we didn't want anything masked either. Maybe the baking soda would have worked like after everything was dry and then vacuuming it. But yeah, from our perspective, we really we were looking for major absorption. And most importantly, we were looking for extraction. And so that was a 20 or 30 gallon tank and we emptied it a number of times when that line burst. And thanks for the superset chat, Chester. Everyone, in this live having plumbing problems. I know, right? A-Rod, REI. Hey, A-Rod, nice to meet you. I have a smoker, that was in the garage, still smells in the summer. Would you recommend Zinsser bin or oil-based primer as a first? I would recommend probably something else even. I would probably recommend like an Aqualock. It's a more durable primer, and I think it not only has I would talk to, this is why I love, Sherwin-Williams is good, but I love Benjamin Moore as well. If you go in and you talk to those experts in there, one of the really cool things about that is that they will make a recommendation. And the fact that it's outside in the garage might be more of a thing. The fact that you might get more humidity might be more of a thing, might make one product work better than another. So yes, so it's not as fast as Zinsser or bins or oil-based. It's much more about what's the right product for the right application. And that would be taking all of that situation and giving it to a Sherwin-Williams or giving it to a Benjamin Moore, because when they then make that recommendation, that puts you in a position where if it didn't work, you can actually go back and sometimes get a discount. Say, I did it exactly like you talked about and it didn't work at all. Yeah. They also have technical support that they're able to access. Because if you call like Benjamin Moore, what are they going to say? Oh, only this is exactly what you have to use, but it's their product. So what I like to do is they get technical support from those different vendors. So I like to have them call and then say, I just need to understand who the winner should be based on the scenario that I gave you, and that there isn't just one flat answer all the time. A-Rod REI, check out the videos that I'm doing on the project home. Those walls were literally yellow. They were literally yellow. And you can see what we did, and that the product that we used to do that space, that product was actually Aqualock. That's what we used inside there. Let's see. Wolfwood Rentals. Caldorn, I just gave notice last week to a tenant that dumped cooking grease down the sink drain. Taylor was not happy to say, yeah, that's ridiculous. Come on, really? All-nighter. A-Rod. Shellac-based bin is what all cities, bees, and pests use here in San Diego. Block bee pheromones for what it's worth. Interesting. I didn't know that. Wealth building journey. Matt, I had my first tenant problem. I feel like I've been initiated into the REI Investors Club. What's the Milwaukee tool you use for low, slow draining pipes? It is, I can look it up. Let's see. It is, give me 1 second. Just got the app coming up on my phone. It's really slow right now. I don't know why it's so slow. Come on, really? Ooh. Whatever that was slow. I'm just going to Google it. Milwaukee. So don't use the small hand one. I don't like that one. So they make a few, but the one that I like is the wand one. Looks like a big, huge wand. I'm trying to find it. Oh, there it is. It's for an M12. It's called the Milwaukee Cordless Drain Gun. And the funniest thing is it doesn't look like a gun at all. The other one looks more like a gun. But yeah, it's for 2-inch to 4-inch pipe. And it's a 6-foot long cable. But again, it has this little thing that you stick on the end where you can then spin the thing. Love it. $171 right now on Granger. I know you can find it cheaper. But yeah, that's the one. That's the one we love that we use all the time. That's where we start. We start with that one in sinks and toilets and showers. And then if we have still have a problem after that, because a lot of times that can even like move it loose. But if it's down further past that, down past 6 feet of that, well, now you're talking, now it's going to be a bigger job. Now I'm looking to, go to the clean out in the big stack. Well, with the rentals, yes, I know. They first said I can't GC it if it is not my primary. Interesting. Yeah, what state's that in? Well, with rentals, like is that like a Colorado or that's what it sounds like to me. I could be wrong though. Vegas is only one weekend. We can push through it. Yeah, exactly. We did. We did. Jack, so stupid question. If I have a company, can I hire my company to do the work with my properties in a situation? Yep, you can. Sure can. Yep, LLC, hiring another LLC. Unless your state has rules around it, but that's kind of tough to do because it's just an entity at that point. Yeah, because I rent a unit from myself, and it's one company renting it from another company, but I own both companies. Jack Stewart. I should say to do things like kitchen cabinet work, painting, backsplash, sinks, nothing electrical, showers, or major plumbing. Yeah, the issue is that if you can't do anything. So in our state, if you do any of those things, and I think it's $250 or something like that, they can make it a felony. They can make it like a class D, maybe like the lowest felony. If you're paying someone to go do work that they don't have a license for. I do believe that can be done. Yep. It can be. Yeah. No issues there. Angel Art, Matt, how much did you pay for that asphalt driveway you posted on Instagram where you called every vendor with 4 stars and higher? I don't remember. So they did 3 for us. The big, huge parking lot that I showed, that was 10,000, 11,000. And then I just paid 10,000 for 2 driveways. One of them was a 3-wide driveway. The other one was a 1.5. Actually, the other one was the one for the house, the one for 44 South. So I'll show up. I totally forgot. I got to show you that to you guys. Right now, we got a little bit of snow on the ground, but I think it's supposed to be in the 40s tomorrow, so it should melt. Then I can get some pictures of it because it looked awesome. It looks beautiful. It completely changes the whole aspect of the house and everything. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So it is. I'll try and get you like a formula, but those formulas are really localized. They really are. What you're really looking for is you're looking for 3 inches of asphalt topping, and you're looking for 3 inches of subgrade. So that way you're really kind of 6 inches. So that way they excavate it, they dig down, they get down some hard pack, they get down some stone, they get down some hard pack. Then it's all compressed, and then they can put the machine on and they can roll and do their driveway on top of it. All-nighter. I think block is good for insulation. With all the seismic activity here in California, they tend to crack. Yep. And are a pain to work on afterward, depending on the repair upgrade. That's always been my issue with those hider. The thing that you have to worry about in Florida is there's a lot of settling. It's not so much the hurricanes or the earthquakes, but it's the settling. So I think almost anybody would look at block and go, it's kind of a substandard over what your other options are. My HVLP system is a Fuji Pro. Okay. It's on-demand air using multiple fans rather than an air compressor. Cool. One of the things that gives you from a fan versus compressor perspective is you don't have to worry about water getting into your paint or condensation getting into your paint. That's one of the reasons for using that type of a system. Six-figure. Okay. Yep. Master Coach. We have a tenant that paid rent for 7 years, but they're mostly late. Tried to push them to get things rolling on time, but the owner feels we shouldn't cause a problem. Yeah, I think generally speaking, that's right. Like if you're always getting paid, but the problem is as soon as you aren't, you likely aren't. Right. So just recognize that that's an investment that you're making. Julie Anderson, how much does the value of a property increase per $100 rent increase? Thanks. So it's depending upon how much the $100 is relative to what the rent is. So, if the $100 increase is on a unit that only rents for $1,000 or $900 or $1,000, then that's a 10% increase. If that $100 is on a $3,000 rent, then it's only 3%. So it's triple as much. So the $100 value that you're looking at really has to be focused on what the actual rent is to start with versus what the end rent is. Not so much to do with the actual, not so much to do with just the $100. It's more the percentage of then what that affects. And then it's just how that then affects and goes into your yield. How much money did you have into the house and getting your return, or even figuring out maybe you've owned the thing for 5 years and you're like, nope, I just need to figure out now my monthlies are $2,000 a month. And now I'm at, $3,000 a month coming in. And so after expenses, and so I am, I'm basically at 50% on this property is what I'm returning. And so then when you add another $100 to that, that's, 5% as an example. I think I did that math right, but you get, I explained it. So now you get kind of the idea. Larry Bird, what's going on, Larry Bird? Thought about you today. I was in a card auction watching some Larry Bird stuff. So it's pretty cool. All-nighter. Water heaters are super easy. Yep. I just changed I just charged $900. Kind of felt bad, but the other jobs on that property are making up for it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You can go to Home Depot. You can get a good 40-gallon hot water heater. Like a Ream. And you can usually buy an electric one for about $600. If you're halfway decent at plumbing, you can buy the breaker, you can do the line. As far as on the electric side, on the plumbing side, it's usually 2 pieces. But as an example, what we do is we had one that was bad. We had it dropped off. We actually delivered it there on site. We had the other one right there. Basically the plumber was able to come in, swap it in an hour. So we got charged $175, because we just get charged for their time. It's not a job we let them flat rate us on. Robert Fernelli. Well, I'm going to keep believing that every real estate investor in my market is better than me. Always better to believe you are screwed than get cocky. Agreed. Jack Stewart, they are, but with gas in my area with all of the explosions recently, they don't want anyone changing gas tanks anymore. Yep. So I'm converting everything to electric hot water heaters. Jack, I only put in electric hot water heaters, even if I have gas at the house. Yep. Because if for some reason they don't pay their electric bill, then they don't have hot water. If they don't pay their gas bill, they don't have heat. The electric companies more often will shut down electric than the gas company will shut off gas in the wintertime, because they know that that's almost 100% going to be your heat source. So I also like it because a typical gas hot water installation if they're having to run that pipe, the black iron, you could be $1,695 to $2,000. And with electric, I'm $30 worth of wire, and I'm 2 lines, and I don't have to take an electric hot water heater and vent it. And with a gas hot water heater, I do. So gas, much, much, much more expensive. Absolutely, hot water is definitely the way that I want to go. For me, that's how I do it. Jack Stewart, A&H, I think they are on average to a house a month exploding. Yeah, from changing gas hot water tank to DIYers doing it wrong. So now it's just easier for me to convert to electric. I totally agree. Master Coach University, those multi-day events are nightmares for the talent. I don't envy y'all. Yeah, it's just long. It's okay. I don't mind. I really don't mind. I really enjoyed it. I kind of I wanted to make sure that there were people that I had to see. Like I had to see. I mean, I was on stage with Dion and Mike. This year it's different. I think Mike's got a spot. I think Dee's got a spot. I know I have a spot with Ashley. I don't know if we're doing anything as Three Amigos together. Don't know that yet. Probably if somebody doesn't show up is probably what would happen there, which I'm totally fine with. Love doing stuff with my guys. But yeah, it's not horrible. It's not horrible. They're just long days, period, because we're getting there at 8 a.m. or leaving at 6. And I really want to spend time with people. I mean, you guys are spending good money to go out to the event and time to go out to the event. And we've done a journey together. I like meeting people. I like meeting you guys. Getting pictures, whatever. I love it all. Love it all. The only thing I ever ask you is that if you're taking one, you just send it to me too. Matt, can I borrow your drum sander here in SoCal? Yes. Yeah. Dude, so expensive, right? Oh my word. Yeah. Ben Mala. That's right. Yeah. Well coiffed look. Very pristine. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah. Cleaned up the beard too. Yeah. Yeah. Didn't want to get arrested walking into the building. There was a chance. Wealth. I'm teasing. Wealth of rentals. I have some people interested in investing with me and want to buy houses with my help. How do I do that? Millennial Mike's a better answer to that question because he's done it. But usually it is forming an LLC, then having whatever the splits are in the LLC and the operating agreement of how those things are set up. Yep, that's how you do it. And then you have to get insurance on it and blah, blah, blah. Wealth Building Journey. Thank you, Matt. The 5+ unit world has so many more moving parts with its debt structure. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Guys, I didn't do anything that big for the first 10 years I invested. I look at that sometimes and say, I probably should have. And then I look at it other times and go, oh, thank God I didn't. So yeah, that's definitely a moving target for sure. Angel Art, at what year into landlording did it get easier for you? Not early. You guys got to remember, 5 years in, the great financial crisis hit. So right when I was kind of starting to figure things out, the great financial crisis hit and then basically elongated it and busted my ass for 5 more years. So, so I felt like Jacob in the Bible. I was like, okay, we're finally getting this. And then great financial crisis hits in 5 more years, 5 more years of brutality. Because it was just tough. Like we almost went bankrupt 3 times, like I described to you. That was nothing I could have done about it. So it was just like, okay, that's how you get like that ability to deal with a crisis and really kind of look at it and just go, okay, next. All right, next thing. Okay, next thing. And you just get very task oriented. Yeah. But yeah, you'll feel that way for a while, Angel. You just will. But then you eventually start to, that's why you don't grow too quickly, is because you really get kind of like, I think year 1, you get the big stuff or save up for some of the big stuff, but you kind of get it fine tuned in year 1. That's kind of like that acquisition stabilization. And then you get to optimization. So yeah, so I think kind of then year 2 is really where you start to get to, okay, now we're kind of stabilized. Now I want to start to optimize. Now I'm looking at all the things that can be done to optimize my unit and start to get me better returns. Dipping in reserve since houses here in Pennsylvania are so old. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, don't be so be afraid of buying your next deal, but if the reserves are there, if the dollars are there, if the deal is there and it's a great deal, then yes. If it's not and you're at risk, or you're buying one that puts your other four at risk, don't. So your assessment of that, Angel, is spot on. That's well done. Wealth with rentals. Let's see. I was thinking of finding them properties and then maybe managing it, but this will need an agent license in my state. Yep, it would. Actually, it might not. In my state, I can be a property management company without a real estate license, and so long as we are only showing our clients' properties, we don't need a license. But that's the way it is in our state. Kyle Dorn, how do you remedy heavily smoked in units? Drywall stained example. We actually didn't do any air stuff at all in this other unit that we did. So look at the 4 videos, Kyle, or 5 videos now that we've done on the project house. In those videos, you see how bad the walls were. All we did was, I think we sprayed Aqualock there. I'll double check, but all we did was spray Aqualock there. I think we sprayed 2 coats of it because it bled through the first one and then we had to spray it again. It didn't bleed through the second one. And now we'll hit it with paint with a primer, and now everything is locked in. Hey, Jen Tam, good to see you. Aqualock, never mind. You just answered that question. Nice. Jack Stewart, because my dad being a meat cutter and my uncle working sell kielbasa in his shop, I seriously thought they meant a meat smoker. I was like, what's wrong with the smell of wood smoke? I don't disagree with that at all. Sadly, they were cig smokers. Yeah. Angel R, my walls were yellow from so much smoking. 4 years later, no odor, replaced all the carpets though. Yes, that's the issue. Carpets, you can do ozone machine. So an ozone machine does work. It depends on how long you leave it going. You can't be in there breathing it. It can't be in a duplex because there can be passover. So that's what I would look for. Let's see. I'm Texas. Oh yeah, Texas, but small city. I still don't think Texas is still largely pretty free. Yeah, I would just be asking conversations. I would talk to insurance. And make sure that they think that it's required. Trouble is here. What's up, guys? For an STR, what thickness should the LVP flooring be? Short-term rental? I'm going thick. I'm going 30 mil. I'm going 30 mil on an STR, 30 or 40. I'm not putting in any 20 mil stuff. No way. Yep. High traffic. Don't want to replace it often. I'm going 30 mil at least, if not 40. I'm going with something thick. The other thing that's really cool about those products is that they have bigger, they have better and stronger locking systems with how they lock and attach to each other. So long as you got a decent install, things going to last forever. Yeah, with that type of a product. Installed properly, but good product. Yeah, 30 mil, 40 mil, nothing less than that. Yep. Hey, Big Hill. Good to see you. Yes, exactly. It's a true story. Sounds money for people that will be, nighter, thicker sounds. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I wouldn't do 20. I'd pump it up. Yep, pump it up. Yep, 30. I've got 30 in this, the places where I've done the thinner stuff, we've had where it was kids or something like that. We've had seams pop, and then we've had to go in, cut the piece, pop the piece out and glue in a new piece. And we don't do glue down. We just glue down that piece so that doesn't pop again. Or we've had to peel back the floor. Yep. Yeah, Wealth with Rentals. Yeah, exactly what Wealth Building Journey said, what Chester says right there. Exactly. You want that operating agreement, but a real understanding, everything's spelled out. This is what you're bringing to the table and what you're doing. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. You know it. Kyle Dorn, I think I've got 5 years of suck in the first year. No, it's just because you kept on buying deals. the time that you get into it. That's why there's no replacement. So one of the things engine guys say that build engines for speed car, for fast cars, they always say there's no replacement for displacement, right? And it's because it's like you can always throw a turbo on it. You can always do these added things. But if you're dealing with a big engine to start, like that's why all these smaller engines that are coming to market now with all these extra turbos, that's why they're kind of cantankerous and they can go boom, boom. The bigger engines, that often doesn't happen with. Let's see. All Nighter Hider. The Way Knights of Gary. Oh, nice. Great. Is that really the name of the LLC? I will bust his balls about that. Knights of Gary. We all have a percentage ownership of the LLC. Correct. Operating agreement has all the details of conduct, the business possibilities. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. I am looking for some solutions to do it with people interested in investing to approach me so far. Very cool. Yeah. I mean, again, it's just, I've thankfully made it this long without having to do it. I would do, for me, I would take money with no input. That's probably the only way that I would do it. I don't want the other opinions there unless they can. If I was doing, so I'm talking to one of my buddies now, we might do a deal together. But the reason that we would do the deal together is because he's got plenty of money. He knows everything that he's doing. And so, yeah, he knows. And it's like, he's like, listen, I can get these pieces taken care of, which he can. He can take care of like the sheetrock. He can take care of the framing. I'm a master on the HVAC and electrical and plumbing side. I know all of those contacts and getting all that stuff done, and then finish design me. Yep. Look up Matt. Great exchange, humor mixed with expertise. Yeah, thank you. Thanks. Look up. Good to see you. Oh yeah, cool template. Yep. Big Hill. Are you in school? Oh no. I can try and share it. Yeah, cool. Yeah, very cool. Big Hill is my local buddy here in SoCal. By the way, Big Hill, I have work planned in Ramona in a few weeks. Nice. Is it Ramona or Pomona? Or is Pomona next to LA and Ramona is next to San Diego? I don't know California that well, so I could be wrong. But yeah, that's that. Crimson Knight. The people who grow the fastest are the smartest. I want to name drop someone, but I'll be nice. The people that grow the fastest are the smartest. Not necessarily. No, that was half joke and half truth. Channel 6 is live. Hey, Channel 6, good to see you. You know, there's so many variables to speed. It largely is how many years did you spend prepping, because it becomes a money thing, and then it becomes, so money's a big thing, right? So in the very beginning, I wasn't borrowing money from anything other than a bank. So I just save up for my next property. There were other people that were borrowing from everybody, liar loans. They did everything they possibly could. They grew faster than me. They also went out of business because they couldn't keep up. And so I think always for me, I've built a lot of businesses, and for me, it's always about the health of the business. Ramona is rural San Diego. It's secretly best small town in San Diego, but don't tell anyone. Very cool. Thank you for the heads up, Big Hill. I actually appreciate that. I always like to know the inside scoop. But yeah, to fully answer the rest of that question or kind of the comment is slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And slow, when we talk about slow, what we're talking about is not trying to rush through any of the moments where you can actually learn. In working with investors for the last 2 or 3 years, like I have, I worked with them before that, but just in a different capacity, not with the course, not with all the assets that we have now available. And that was the biggest mistake. I grew too fast. Happened. I did. I went from, my first few years was 4, 5, 6 properties. It was 4, 5, or 6 properties. And it was just too fast. I didn't get them. I got them barely stabilized, and then they could go unstable. And then when the great financial crisis hit, they went really unstable. 831, 8 tenants paying in August, 3 paying in September, 1 paying in October. Freaking one. And it was because my strategy for tenant selection was flawed. I picked all of these people that were in the same trades. So when those companies started shutting down and laying people off, which is what happened, that's where I went from 8 to 3, and these people live paycheck to paycheck. Now, my guess is they all got laid off around the same time, but 3 of the 8 could withstand. 5 couldn't. 5 literally couldn't make their next month's rent payment. That's how bad they were with money. Crazy. Wealth building journey. Also, get with a good attorney to review the agreement and see what they would add, modify. Yeah, any agreement that you ever use. That's why when we post all the stuff that we post in our course or in the course, when we post all that stuff in the course, it's more of a, hey, this is a document that we use. You need to find out, but it's always better. It's always better to take a document that's already been built and bring it to an attorney and then say, can you see what here is legal and illegal in this document for us to do in this state? Number one. Number two, is there anything that we're allowed to do in this state that maybe this person isn't able to do in their state that we should add as kind of like standard boilerplate language? That is another big win as well. So when you're using any of our documents, we're always focused on this is going to be a framework, and you have to find out from an attorney if that framework is allowed in your state. And if not, you see how we accomplish or trying to accomplish something with language. That attorney might say, well, I see what he's trying to do here. You can't do it this way here, but you could do this. And then you at least have the spirit of what was trying to be accomplished in that document. You then have that in your document. Those are the things that I'm most focused on is, being able to do and put something together like that can then be morphed and used in other places. Channel 6, Ramona is a cool spot. Like Julian, always drive through Ramona. Cool. Well, this person I'm referring to is also going to go bankrupt, right? Let's be nice and not name him. We'll see. We'll see. I think that there's certainly investors out there that are just over levering, and I think they're going to get popped. There was an investor in our market. His calculation was, I need to only net $50 a month per unit. Now, for a few years, he's been revered as this brilliant real estate mind. He isn't. If the market had gone flat, he would have gotten eaten alive. And he didn't have this big hypothesis about how the market was going to go up super aggressively for 6 years. Didn't have that. They'd have been eaten alive by increased costs. Eaten alive. And that would have meant they wouldn't have made their debt payments. So, you know what? Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you're good. All-nighter, not living check to check has been so relieving. Yeah, I'm sure. It's only going to get better from here. I totally agree. BuzzTune, could you talk about the buyer's markets you've been through investing? Yeah, sure. Is each one their own unique cycle? Yeah, that's what it really is, BuzzTune. You nailed it. Everything is unique to those markets. Even for me, where I am in New Hampshire. New Hampshire is a state with 1.4 million people. That's it. That's all we have in our state. But we have like 7 markets. Legit. We have 7 different markets. We have the water, we have the oceanfront market. We've got north of the oceanfront market, which is me, because basically my southernmost town has waterfront. But you've got then Robert Farinelli's area, Manchester. Another Robert Farinelli area is Nashua. Those are different markets. Another market is Keene, which is way out west, where it's like where Redion and Robert are, but way out there, closer to there's a big college town, very close to Vermont. Then you have Lake Winnipesaukee. So What About Bob was filmed there. There's a bunch of films that have been filmed there at Lake Winnipesaukee, but that is you have to pay over $1 million to buy a teardown to then spend millions of dollars building something back. Again, completely different market. What's really funny is, do you know the reps, the real estate agents that actually make the most money in the state? 3 out of 5 of them are in what's called that lakes region. It's where the lakes are. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, that's what we see. So it really is very different. Wealth building journey. Yep. Always start with a template. That's what helps. Yep. Come prepared when talking with an attorney. Absolutely. You get a better response from the whole legal team, the more prepared you are. I totally agree with that. Channel 16, is there any additive you can add to quickset drywall to set it faster? No. So when you're putting drywall on the wall, they do have 15-minute mix, they have 30-minute mix, they have 45-minute mix. So there's no additive that you're technically buying. You can buy product that dries faster. So if that makes sense. So yes, you can do that. Wealth building journey, great point. Absolutely. Cox family. Hello, Lumberjack. Hi, Cox family. Good to see you. Are Andover and Meridian nearby? In my markets, no. Andover, Mass. Meridian, I don't know any Meridian. Andover, Massachusetts is close by. But yeah, not Meridian. I wonder if Meridian is in New Hampshire. Let me just double check. Meridian. There's a Meridian, Connecticut. There's a Meriden, New Hampshire. Ooh, that's like really up north. It's 3 degrees right there now. Yeah, that's way up. So there's Meriden. Yeah. Meriden, New Hampshire. That's way up there. That's in something called Sullivan County, which means you're less than an hour from, maybe less than an hour from Canada. Let me see on the map. Let me just double check. Always curious. Pop out. Whoop. Where is that? Oh, I know where this is, actually. Meriden. Yeah, okay. I know where this is. This is basically right on the border. Yeah, this is basically, I think it's right on the border with Vermont. Yeah, Meriden. Lebanon, New Hampshire. Grantham, Enfield. Yeah, these are all Canaan, Lyme. Yeah, show me more. Yeah, that's yeah, that's really west of the state. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Well, that's even north of Claremont. Yeah, that's like it's hours and hours away from where I live. Summertime Santa, great seeing you. I'll have to rewatch this in later. Have a wonderful night, all. Thanks, Summertime Santa. Good seeing you as well. Meriden, yeah, you're all good. I had to check it and see if I even knew, so I get it. Sounds like a very warm climate. It is not. It is meaty clacker freezing weather. Channel 6, if you wash your mud pan into the same water you mix with, the water will have a catalyst in it and turn 5-minute mud into too fast to get it out of the pan mud. That's true. Works when using hot mud, like 5 minutes. Also, hot water tends to set it off a bit faster. That's true. Okay, so not far from Montpelier. Nope. Yeah, Meriden is closer to Montpelier. Yep. Yeah, we're a distance. Tyler LaBelle. I'm originally from White River Junction next to Lebanon. Oh, very cool, Tyler. Very cool. Yeah, that's the west side of the state. Which is, it's so interesting because so I am 10 minutes to the beach. I am less than an hour to the mountains. And I am an hour from three international airports: Manchester, Portland, and Boston. So that's kind of what I love about the area that I live in, is that if I want to go to the mountains, less than an hour away. If I want to go to the ocean, less than 10 minutes away. And if I need to get to a plane somewhere, I have 3 options of where I can fly out of, all within an hour. It's interesting because BuzzTune says it's interesting because how Zuber talks about now as being a buyer's market for investors. My fault. Should have wrote question differently. No, that's totally fine. Totally fine. I think that in some markets it is, and in some it isn't. In all honesty, I think in some markets it really is a buyer's market. In other markets it isn't. There were still houses that sold before the election here. It was to a snail's pace, but some people had to sell. And if you have to sell, for me, I didn't have to sell. So it was an inaccurate portrayal of kind of what I was going through, right? Where it was like, I wanted to be honest with you guys and say, yeah, I mean, I got offered this number and I told them to take a flying leap because I can. And I wasn't going to take that dumb number. And guess what? I know 2 of the 3. So one, we're under contract. We were under contract twice before. I know that they still haven't bought anything. I know the person on the other unit that lowballed me, they still haven't bought anything. Suck it. So there you go. Let's see. It's a buyer's market for him, not for me. 2 units. Robert, it's not a buyer's market for me at all. Not on multifamily. We're still setting records on small multifamily. 2, 3s, and 4s. We're still setting records. We have had a 3 unit sell for $1 million here, Robert. Robert and I have an ongoing thing talking about, he believes that 3 units in Manchester will be trading at $1 million. And I said, not for probably 5 to 10 years. But yeah. Yeah, nice. Yeah, exactly. Yep. National BWI in Dulles. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Sid. Hey, Sid, welcome to the show. Good to have you. Can you talk about your course, please? Yeah, I got a duplex and got hosed in the rehab by my I'm sorry. I want to do the next rehab under me and GC, not property manager. Yeah. So the course does kind of cover all that stuff. It's how to talk to contractors, how to talk to the towns, with the inspectors. It talks about, how you understand costs. It talks about not just gutting everything and throwing everything out, because there's a lot of value that can be held into a property by not just ripping everything out. It talks about products, what appliances you should or shouldn't get. Literally, appliance by appliance. Talks about windows. If you have to replace some windows, how what you should be looking for from a Windows perspective. When you're doing that. So we'll only do a couple of boot camps a year. We're going to do a boot camp in Q1 of next year. It's going to be probably January, February, March timeframe. I'm solidifying dates now, but that boot camp is something that's super helpful. You have to take the course because we need to make sure we're speaking the same language. But then the boot camp, in fact, Kyle Dorn said it earlier, kind of exactly. Oh yeah, Zuber, you're right. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, so when you're looking at doing those projects, so Kyle Dorn, if you look up a little bit higher, he'll actually say he basically had projects going on while he was in the boot camp, and he just used that time to ask some questions. Everybody gets to ask questions. We keep it to only 15 people on purpose. We don't want to have 20, 30, 40 people at a boot camp. We only want 15. I only want 15 because I want to, when I'm spending 2 or 3 hours with you, with the entire group, everybody's going to learn. Everybody's going to hear what's going on. Everybody's going to get to understand more about doing this better. But yeah, all of that stuff is in there. If you look at the Lumberjack Landlord course piece, that's good, Dion. It's good. He's not wrong, I think. But yeah, if you want to just better understand the course, really, there's an in-depth video. I did 16, 17 minutes, I think. That actually takes you through module by module and piece by piece of what we actually have there in the course. And feel you can always, in any of the lives, always ask questions. There's tons of people that are taking the course in here. I think Wealth Building Journey has the record at 5. He's taken the course 5 times. So there's always that opportunity to jump in and ask those questions. You know, first, I don't know that the course is for everybody, but so far the feedback's been pretty awesome. And people have done a deal, or they've done more deals, or they've saved a ton of money on managing their existing deals and existing contracts. Yeah, Channel 6 San Diego have a bag of 20-minute. Okay. 10 patches tomorrow. Yeah. Oh, patching. Tyler LaBelle. I'm hoping to buy a $3 to $5 million multifamily as 4 sellers show up. Currently I have 17 single families and cash stacked, ready, waiting. Tyler, I love the strategy. I really do. I do. I love it. I do. The other thing that you can do too is you can look at something called a reverse 1031. If you got cash stacked, you can look at doing a reverse 1031 and then get your single families. You don't have to sell them yet. You can do a reverse 1031 and sell the singles after you're under contract for a $3 to $5 million property. Reverse 1031. Ask me how I know. Both Ben and Judy, thanks for posting the course. Dion, I agree. Everyone listening, yeah, you guys are doers. You guys are gonna have a great year this year. I think you'll have to learn some stuff. And you might go through some struggles, but you'll learn stuff. And largely speaking, if you get in trouble, you jump into a live. You ask Dion, ask Mike, ask me. I'm not offended when people ask all 3 of us. We all have different perspectives. We've all done things differently. So absolutely. Going to start on the 6th go around soon. That's awesome. That's very cool. I love that. All Nighter Hunter, Wealth Building Journey. I'm having technical difficulties over here. Wealth Building Journey. I vouch for that. Well worth it. Thanks very much. Jason Calasabetta. Course was great. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that. Jack Stewart, Lumberjack Landlord. Feel free when someone asks you if the courses and boot camp are worth it, you should tell them you have a student that saved $20K on one project. That's awesome, guys. That's great. Congratulations. I love that. I love that it helped you that much. My hope is always certainly that it gives you just a few different ways of looking at things and understanding how to get the most value out of what you're doing. I certainly hope that for you. But what I really love is when people see a return in a total return, 5, 6, 10x, and they see that in not 10x the way everyone's thinking, but 5, 6, 11x in the first 6 months, then it's like, okay, cool. We really did a good job. We really did a good job in putting the right information out there to help people. Robert Farinelli, I'm still taking that bet on $1 million triplex in Manchester selling next year. I'm not backing down on that. I have to be spot on. If one sells for $999, I still lose. Dude, nothing is getting to that number. Nothing. No triplex in Manchester is selling for $1 million. No freaking way. Even if rates go to 5, that thing's not selling for that. I don't wish it, but I think you'll see it. I think the economy in Manchester is really going to struggle. I think it's really going to get hit. That's what I think, but who knows? Guys, always a great time spending time with you guys. It's 11:30. Went a couple hours tonight. That was good. It's good shift. I got a ton of stuff that I'm going to do tomorrow. My kids have play dates and all this other stuff that I get to go have fun and hang out with and meet kids, which for me, I'm kind of that dad who is like, I need to know who you're hanging out with. Got to be careful who you're hanging out with because you just might, or got to be careful who you hang with because you just might hang with them. So yeah, so I'm big on that, and Ashley, Mrs. Lumberjack, is too. So I appreciate you guys. I'm so glad. Thank you all always for the feedback, guys, on the course. Love hearing that. Love hearing what an impact it made on you and your investing journey. It means the world to me. I didn't want to do a course, so the fact that I was shamed into it, and then it worked out well for everybody is really, it's really awesome. I really appreciate it. So, guys, have a great rest of your night. I hope you all had a great Christmas, Hanukkah, and yeah, New Year's. Next time we will talk, we'll be into 2025. So, think about 2024. Think about what things you did that went well, what things you learned that will make for a better 2025. I'm not a big goal setting guy. I wanted to only do great deals. And so all the work that I did was working towards getting a great deal. And so it doesn't have to be 3 deals or 5 deals or 10. It needs to be, any deal you do needs to be a great deal. That's the thing that you're really shooting for. So look forward to also hanging out with you guys in Vegas in a couple of months. But yeah, Tyler Bell, thanks for all you do. Love the stacks of cash of the night. I appreciate that you guys thought that was funny, or at least Tyler did. Yeah. I now have an answer to the most YouTube thing about me, right? I was like, I got on a live stream and I started doing stacks of 10. It was kind of funny. I thought it was humorous, and I had it available for a reason. We were doing something, so I had to have that stuff available. But yeah, thanks for saying, Tyler. I appreciate you guys. Guys, have a fantastic rest of your night. We will see you guys in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye now.